Hello and welcome to Ljubljana Talks here at Conventa 2024. And today is an exciting day, of course, because we have a very special guest with us, and that is Tatjana Radovic, a real legend of the meetings industry, not just here in Slovenia, but internationally. And today we're going to be talking about so many things that I don't think we're going to have enough time. But Tatjana, thank you very much for coming and taking your time. And let me start off with congratulations on receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award yesterday, here the Meeting Star Lifetime Achievement Award, which is, I would say, a very justified way of thanking you for everything you've done, and also that Conventa is now 16 years old.
Well, thank you, Jan, and also thank you, Gorazd, my two partners in crime in many interesting projects that we've been running together over, I don't dare to say how many years, not because Jan and Gorazd are a tad younger, but because it really makes me feel already like a semi-fossil. Anyhow, I'm extremely pleased to be once together with you at Ljubljana Talks, because so far I've been a big fan of this baby that you have created a while ago, and that is really picking up the interest of more and more people working in the meetings business, but also those who are maybe semi-involved and are keen to learn more. So it's very inspirational sessions with a variety of top counterparts from different sectors of the meetings industry. So as I see that our audience today is composed by students from one of the colleges which focuses on tourism and hoteliering in Slovenia. I see that the majority of these physical faces here are really young. So I strongly recommend you to look up for Ljubljana Talks on YouTube. And that's really a big library of knowledge and of very good ideas on the meetings industry.
Thank you for the advertisement. Thank you
for product placement. Thanks, Tatjana. We love that.
Well, I'm a marketer by nature, so...
But Tatjana, you were with us with this Conventa story from the early beginnings. That was Cymex at the beginning, a Slovenian trade show, which becomes later on Conventa. But now it's 16 years old, this teenager Conventa. How difficult is to live with a teenager like Conventa?
Well, actually, I think a bit of my childhood and of fairy tales. I was always fascinated by the so-called good fairies that were present at childbirth beds, bestowing a lot of good wishes and we could say good wishes and good gifts to babies that were born. So I'm not a mom of Conventa nor a dad. There were parents that are well defined, but I feel a bit like a good fairy.
It's an unfunctional family, by the way. Yeah.
So I feel
dads and many moms.
So I feel a bit like a good fairy or maybe a little godmother for Conventa, and it's been quite a ride. Actually walking hand in hand with a little toddler, falling on the knees, picking it up. And now Conventa, I see it as a gorgeous young woman who is charming, smart, focused, knows where to go, wishes to improve, wishes to kind of grow in all regards and become a very interesting person, advocating everything that is good for the future of our business, of our industry, and for a wider purpose, societal purposes. Because I believe that the meetings industry is not just business. Maybe it's still too much regarded as business, but it has far more potential. So I really see it as a driver of change, of innovation, of communication, of regeneration, and of we could say supporting a more just, we could say societal sustainable development across the globe. So this is what has been kind of driving my interest and my passion for years to be in this business environment.
Tatjana, you've been in this business environment more than just in it, but you were basically creating it. Mm-hmm. I think that especially because of our viewers, which are going to be looking at this on YouTube or perhaps on iTunes, because we are on iTunes as well, But because of this group of basically 20 young people in front of us that perhaps don't know the history of our meetings industry in Slovenia, could you tell us a little bit more about how you see its development from those early starts? You know, as it was said yesterday, you are the reason why the Slovenian Convention Bureau is here. You're the reason, in many ways, why the Ljubljana Convention Bureau, of course, is here, and of course also Conventa. So, could you tell us a little bit more about how it all started?
Actually, I was thinking on my way here, driving dangerously my bicycle. I'm known for that around Ljubljana. I'm a fast biker. How much time had gone by since my first contact with the meetings industry, and I realized it's actually 25 years. When I kind of from the general tourism industry stepped into the meetings industry, or really got more in touch with it. Actually, in Slovenia at that time and in Ljubljana, the forerunner, or we could say the forerunner of all marketing endeavors at the very start was City Congress Center Ljubljana, Cankarjev Dom, which had been built in the very early 1980s. So they were the first ones that stepped on the international conference market, if we can say so. In Ljubljana, there was also, at that time, a certain idea of starting to support promotionally at that time, because it was too early to talk about marketing, this sector that was recognized for its international potential. And there was also at that time, when Slovenia got independent, the Public Relations Office of the government of Slovenia that equally realized, we could say, that this sector could grow. So very, we could say, coincidentally, a few people came together. Here I have to mention my first mentor in Slovenia, who was Srečo Peterlič, at that time the director of the Congress department at Cankarjev Dom, and his colleague, who was a great marketer, Masha Martinčič. Every one of us has mentors. And also Matjaž Kek from the government PR office, who really became strong supporters of our industry from the start. I think that we were working from today's point of view as pioneers, with very limited tools, with very limited budget, but with a lot of determination to advance our mission. In a way, we started also with the support of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, their sector for tourism. We started stepping very, we could say, timidly on the international market, timidly in terms of presence, but not in terms of energy and ideas. So actually, at the same time, concurrently, also the Slovenian Tourist Board was shortly after established, and we were provided finally with more professional marketing tools, approaches, the visuals, etc. So this way it started slowly growing, and also the membership in international, or at that time European and international associations in our business, like trade associations, and that was a way also for me to try to make a stronger presence for Slovenia and Ljubljana. It was never only Ljubljana, but it was always Slovenia together with Ljubljana, to be more recognized or more visible on the international market. Don't forget that we had quite a lot of challenges with the independence of Slovenia, the war in Yugoslavia that followed later on, and of course this wrong view on the situation in our country. So we had to start in many regards from scratch, from zero. So it was not an easy time to start pushing and kicking and really seeing that Slovenia would get recognized for its potential.
And when was then the idea born to create the Slovenian Convention Bureau?
Oh, that was an idea. Gorazd will know that as well. That was maturing for quite a long time without success. Actually,
keep fighting.
Yeah,
keep fighting.
Keep fighting. But anyhow, there was a budget secured by the government PR office, which never was realized then as a project. And then there were quite a lot of changes at the government level in Slovenia with regards to entities within the government that were competent over the tourism industry. So there were transformations in the structure. There were a lot of changes in with regards to the top decision maker, be it a minister, be it a state secretary, because the structures as such changed. And it was a never-ending challenge to make them understand that there should be more attention dedicated to the meetings industry. Finally, we had a project which Gorazd very well knows. Gorazd was one of the forerunners for project management in Slovenia, and that was also related to hosting the International Project Management Association Congress. I don't remember which year was that anymore.
1999.
1999. So anyhow, yeah, that was a moment when we also got in touch through the Slovenian Project Management Association with a professor that actually pointed out the possibility to create the Slovenian Convention Bureau through the cluster project. And the Minister for the Economy of that time actually was wishing to push the clustering model into tourism, and the Convention Bureau was recognized as a first potential project, because before that it was toolworking, automobile industry. So when we kind of felt where we were being pushed into, it was completely incredible at that point. But we did it. And I remember the last day when we had to prepare the final documents. It was a little bit like EU projects in terms of paperwork. We were sitting at night in a small office in the World Trade Center, piling up and piling up together all these files. And then of course, we got the project. It was approved. The partnership structure was approved. Ljubljana Tourism was one of the co-founders then of the Slovenian Convention Bureau, and the whole journey started. And it's been a good ride, a long ride. It could have been a faster ride, in my view. So there is always more ideas than resources, which is still valid today. But with innovation and creativity, and also we dared quite a lot in some moments, we succeeded to deliver more than we could ever have, with lots more budget, with a much higher budget, but with more comfort zone. So the fact that we were not, we could say, supported by the material side, made us spur the creative side.
Amazing, Tatjana. It's 20 years of Slovenian Convention Bureau this year. It will celebrate this. We will celebrate this in April, because it was officially established in April 2004. But Tatjana, your eyes are always shining when you see people meeting live. You know, I will ask you something which comes to my mind at this particular moment. You know the slogan of MPI: when we meet, we change the world. What can you say about that? To these young people here listening to us, I see some of you have these shining eyes, but explain to them why it's so sexy to work in our industry.
Well, I remember one gentleman, he was really a British gentleman. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. Tony Carey, Ivo, you remember him. And Tony, the last time I met him was at an MPI Europe conference in Torino. And we drove back together to Slovenia because he had bought a holiday home in Slovenia, in the Karst region. So he said, you know, I always realize that there is a lot of sex in the meetings industry, which is true because, anyhow, uh, not from my personal experience, because I always tried to keep and separate private from business, which is always a recommendation to all the young people when they enter the business sphere. Try not to get caught up in, we could say, love traps connected to your job. It's much healthier in a way. And here, Jan, you also remember a lady who was one of your, the name you helped me.
Early mentors, yeah.
Yeah, one of your early mentors in Barcelona at the Forum for Young Professionals. Yeah, who kind of pointed out the same. So it's sexy because it's so. There's I think a think tank of ideas. The meetings industry is like champagne. It's bubbly. It opens your eyes. It makes you think. It gives you inspiration. Look, from my point of view, I've been in contact with wonderful partners in the destination, working in the diverse sectors of the tourism industry, of the meetings industry. You're in touch with scientists if you work with associations. So top creators, top thinkers, top researchers. You get in touch with great people from the economic field, from the, we could say, from the industry or from the direct economy of different sectors. So be it finances, be it, I don't know, pharmacy, pharmaceuticals, whatever, that are also in a way many times drivers of research. And change and progress. You work with also what we, believe it or not, the first bid I created, or the first bid document we had in Slovenia, I just thought how long that goes back. It will be 20 years, Gorazd, as well. But it was not for a congress, for a scientific congress. It was for a European sports event. And that was the first bid I created. So we also meet this different sector directly. And it's the multidisciplinary nature of our business that has been fueling my passion for it all over the time. You have to learn all the time. When you meet top researchers and you go for a bid, you have to try to understand what they do, what they deal with, what they wish to achieve, and how they wish to communicate that when we kind of support them together to be successful in getting a congress, and what their aims are, what their objectives are. So these are all things that are part of the story. It's not just giving like a proposal and waiting and keeping fingers crossed that your destination or your venue, your provider, your PCO will be selected. It's a much wider picture if you want to see it, and if you want to grow not just strictly professionally in the business we do, but in a wider sense. So, yeah, this is it. And passion for what you do makes it much more fun to work, because quite often, as you know probably already by now, the younger audience here, it's not a 9-to-5 job. Whatever we do in the tourism, travel business, in the meetings business, it's not the comfort zone in this regard. So there has to be passion.
Tatjana, is it true that this is the most stressful job in the world? The pilots are number one, then, I don't know.
Soldiers, I think, and
soldiers,
firefighters.
Then we are there, So what can you say about that?
Well, yeah, it's. I would agree that it can be quite stressful at times, especially for maybe meeting organizers even more. But even when you work in the field of destination marketing, which has been my sandbox for most of the time, there are many things that are invisible to a number of, we could say, players, even in our, we could say, partnership chain. It's strategies, it's campaigns, it's building up the partnership, building up relations, keeping them with, we could say, internally in the destination and externally with the if you are good at what you do, with the ever-growing number of clients, of business contacts that you have acquired, because this is a dynamic, live organism, and you have to be active all the time and find and think of new ways of communication that will keep the interest in times that are more and more volatile in terms of focus, in terms of attention span.
Would you say that perhaps it's a great thing because, as you said, we can contribute to the change regardless of where you work? It can be in the convention center, it can be in a convention bureau, it can be in a hotel. You are a part of the ecosystem, right? Mm. And the ecosystem of the meetings industry contributes to creating added value for a destination as a whole. So you are helping your professors and doctors be better at work. You can contribute to creating medical procedures that will, I don't know, cure cancer more effectively. You can really contribute to this change, but all these pieces have to align. And I think a part of the stress is because everything that we do is future focused. Mm-hmm. The results don't come quickly. You have to be patient. You have to, a lot of times fight for getting the budget, for getting the support. You have to go out there and say, in 2028, we have a confirmed conference. Can you imagine this? There's very few industries that can see the future. But this is the meaning that at the end of the day, when you look at it from a destination perspective, it stabilizes the destination. The hoteliers know when they're going to be full. They know how their price, performance is going to be. And I think, Tatjana, you've seen so many of these changes. Do you see that through your contribution, through Ljubljana Convention Bureau and through the industry, that these changes do happen?
Yeah, I definitely do. It's partly my story, but I also see it as a story that has over the time spread to a lot of dedicated and passionate younger colleagues that are we are like a unison. We are like a small choir, all singing the same notes and speaking the same language, and we are being more and more heard. Sometimes we should shout a little bit more, but we are trying to behave and be good boys, good girls. Basically, I think that we have contributed to change. We have contributed to a different perception of the meetings industry as such, and this whatever it can contribute to a more sustainable development in destinations. What I also find important is that there is quite a strong mentorship as well among the colleagues. I call it now my next generation. So I'm generation passé, and then there's the next generation. I'm
how
a bit
dare
ironic.
You? How dare you say passé? How dare you?
Anyhow, but you are the next generation. You are.
Gorazd is the next generation.
No, you are generation now. Yeah.
My heart is young.
Yeah.
16 years old. So.
I'm trying to remember what I was doing at the age of 16, but that's for another Ljubljana Talks.
Another Ljubljana Talks, yeah, Tatjana. But let me ask you something. This is a team sport, am I right?
Yeah, very
much. It's like a football, yeah.
Yeah.
So you depend on the weakest part of the chain, yeah? But can you share some funny moments from your career? Actually, some fubars. You know what is fubar? It's a cluster. I will not use this word because it's not correct, but fubar means something goes really, really wrong. And it's a cluster. Okay, you got it?
All of a sudden you're censoring.
Okay.
Can you share something like that?
Well, there's. I think that there is a little episode that I will never forget. Actually, it was connected to also Miha Kovačić, who was for a long time director of the Slovenian Convention Bureau. By the way, I signed 20 years ago, nearly, the contract for Miha to start working at the Slovenian Convention Bureau. And you know where we did it? At a terrace Konski Rep, then it was called the Horse's Tail, by the Three Bridges. So that was the office where Miha got his contract signed and started working for the Slovenian Convention. So that was a little fun episode. But really what still makes me roll with laughter was connected to Miha. We had a client from New York coming on a site inspection, and this gentleman was quite demanding and kind of changing plans and being a bit fussy. Anyhow, I made a mistake because I wanted to forward his email to Miha with a comment, and by mistake I made a reply to all. And the basic sentence was, in the end, but what does he think, that he's the king of America? So the client got that. You can imagine that it was a bit of a tricky moment for me, and meeting this gentleman later on. But by the end of that day, we had a good laugh together, and he agreed that he was a bit fussy. So we all got a lesson, the client and myself, to be especially careful when you reply to a specific person or reply to all.
Tatjana, thanks for being our guest. We need to close our discussion now. But as you know, we always finish with short questions, and Jan for sure has some fire questions for you for the grand finale. So,
but I would just like to say one thing. Okay. I've been working with great colleagues for quite a while, and we did a lot of good things, and I'm really happy that it turned out this way. But one thing that I'm really proud of and that I find rewarding personally was mentoring so many young people. I was very active for a while in the European Federation of Conference Towns. Later it merged with another association into European Cities Marketing. Now it's City DNA, City Destination Alliance. And I was in charge of their educational program for 9 years. This was a voluntary job, because it was quite a job. The summer school was also in Ljubljana in 2000. That's when Miha Kovačić was attending it as a student. And actually, over 50 attendees from Slovenia joined the summer school during the time I was chairing or leading this course. I still strongly recommend it as an excellent product for beginners or intermediate, we could say, professionals in the meetings industry. It's a great opportunity to learn, to build your own network. And anyhow, this mentoring, which means not only Slovenians, but getting to know a lot of younger professionals from all across Europe, was a great opportunity for me to return the generosity of senior professionals that opened their knowledge to me when I was a greenhorn in the meetings industry. So this is always a message. Give back for all what you get from open-hearted and open-minded people. And it gives you a lot of satisfaction, much more than the tangible, we could say, business that you can get. This is what you carry in your heart.
That's a beautiful message, I think.
Tatjana deserves applause. Definitely. Bravo.
And now
you will start with the fire questions.
I will. Cats or dogs?
Both, but dogs come first.
Facebook, TikTok.
Not so much enthusiastic about either. But I like to, I'm a voyeur on TikTok, but I'm not active. I was quite surprised by myself that I fell for Twitter, because I found it quite interesting to be able to communicate in the space limit that Twitter imposes, and to mix B2B actually communication to, we could say, more humorous or humorous contents, because it's a good combination.
One more.
Yeah.
Steps or elevators?
I have 100 steps to reach my home in the center of Ljubljana. It's a 1930s building. There is no way to build an elevator. We are now thinking, together with my partner, whether to stay or whether to go, because we are not getting any younger. But we had a good model with some neighbors who were able to walk 20 steps less, so 80, one floor beneath, until nearly 90 years of age. So anyhow, I think that if I last that long, I can sign I remain with stairs. But this is why when I see an elevator, it's very exotic to me, and I never take the stairs.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Tatjana.
Tatjana.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
being
your
our
time.
guest.
Yeah. And you didn't ask me for one of my hobbies.
You have so many.
Tati
Cooking?
cooks.
Yeah, I know. I'll leave that one for the next Ljubljana Talks, okay?
So I really thank you for inviting me. I thank all these beautiful young faces in front of me, and for really staying with us and listening, as far as I see, with quite some interest. And I hope that you will find some inspiration for your future path from this little session that we shared with you at Conventa, which is a great show. And I think that I will take Conventa maybe in 2 years' time to Metelkova. It's a club scene very close to where I live, and I still go there from time to time for a concert, even though they call me auntie.
I can visualize that. But I have a question. Does anyone have a question for the legend of the meetings industry of Slovenia? Anyone, anything? No? Okay.
So, thanks for listening to us. My voice is not in the best shape. And we say, instead of goodbye, we said power to the meetings. That's how we say at the end. So, thank
Power
you.
to the
the
meetings.
meetings.
Stay tuned.